Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. How's it going, y'all? Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a preamble. Or even just an amble. Let's go, I guess. I don't even really know what we're working on today, you know? I just go live. I did some stuff last night at like a little co-working event. I was casually kind of just working on like a new version of the single door that's a full block. I'm like reasonably happy with it. I did it correctly with like the multiple layers so people would yell at me less. Made it a little easier to build, I guess. But I'm reasonably happy with it. There's a lot of benefits to making the door the whole block instead of the old door, which is like half a block. You might say, wow, a door that's a whole block, that's insane. It's huge. Thick. It is. But from a auto tiling and a block filling standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to have a door be an entire block. It's a little awkward maybe for a single door like this. It'll look better on a double or a triple door for sure. Or a tall door, whatever that'll look like. Like a door that's multiple Z levels tall. Like a 2x2 or a 2x3. Or God help us, a 3x3. But I don't know. I'm gonna at least make the double door version and plug it into the system and see how that works. Right now, if we start throwing doors in here, there's some awkward stuff in terms of like the doors being hidden. I forgot that like I added a thing to take control of the camera. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So like if we start throwing doors in here, the door gets like obscured and there's these awkward little edges in front and next to the door that we have to think about. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. So I want to at least try a thick door, because then there's also an issue of like, what do you do with the floor tiles? Whereas if the door takes up the whole block, at least the wall and the floor tiles and stuff can be their own thing. Like I could make them, I wouldn't make them this, I wouldn't make them the middle hull, I'd make them like a special door texture. Like the interior of a door texture. I don't know what I would do, but I would do something. I would do something so that when the cutaway system is open, you can tell that there's a door here. So I don't know what that would be, but we want to do something. Yeah, I don't know. What are we going to work on today? Some of the stuff that's like kind of imminently needs to be done. Maybe recentering the construction based on where you're actually building. Yeah, maybe we can do some stuff around the buildable area, because right now it's kind of awkward that the rotation is based on the whole area rather than centered on the actual construction itself. Oh, the music's still going. Oops. Stop that. Sorry. I don't listen to the music. because it's just too fatiguing to be wearing my headphones like the entire time I'm streaming for some reason with my new glasses. Doesn't feel great. So yeah, I want to do something around the area, the buildable area. I want to have like 2 different versions. So we have this like, this is a description of the maximum buildable area. I want to center the construction, like recenter it. And I want to use that as the central position, I think. Maybe not. Maybe for now it's just fine and I'll just survive with the fact that it's rotating around the origin. Also, what the hell is going on here? So here's everything's normal, and then when I rotate around, I can only see one of the layers. That's new. That's a new thing. What could be causing that? So here I see everything normally, and then here I only, if I do a rotation, the cutaway system works, but I can only see layer 1 under rotation. Not even layer 0, because layer 0 is like this part. I can literally only see, oh no, I can't even see layer 1. Layer 1 has a door in it. What layer is this? What the hell? It looks like layer 1, but it's missing this door that I put here. What if I put a door here? Oh, I can't even... Can I put anything here? Yes. But not a door. Alright, let's put something here and then try to figure out... Okay, so that is layer 0. But also, it's not layer 0. Okay. Mystery. Hey, Diginanigans. How's it going? We have something of a mystery here. Where could this problem be? Let's do the thing I need to do sometimes, just close all of these tabs because it's way too much. And then open just a few of them. And open the game state. Open some of the systems. Probably the tile system. It's possibly related to our view relative calculation. We did a huge refactor yesterday where we changed all of these functions, and I probably messed some stuff up, being realistic. I ended up making like 80 something changes in the span of like 30 minutes. Stavo, that's some odd behavior. Yeah, it is. I think it's because we have this process for getting either the relative coordinates or the absolute coordinates based on the view. So we have these new functions for doing that. And either the problem is in the function, which seems unlikely. What seems more likely is that I swapped some stuff around. Relative y. Oh. We're missing the z. We're not including the z because I copied over the vector 3 version of the problem. That explains quite a lot of it. So we would just say z or rel.z. Nathan writing, hey there, this is a really neat stream. Thanks for sharing. You're hoping to glean some insights from experienced game development. Really appreciate that, Nathan. I wouldn't call myself deeply experienced, but I have been trying to do this for many, many, many moons. You're kind of witnessing my best effort so far for sure. But yeah, we're trying to work on a kind of an isometric 3D kind of thing. Kind of a take on FTL, faster than light. Right now we're working on kind of a auto tiler, so like a system to generate the representation of the 3D space using 2D tile maps. Doing that in Godot. But yeah, I'm happy to, you know, answer questions. We have a Discord. It should be in my channel links. I have a link tree. I'd always be interested in seeing what people are working on, or you can also post, problems that you're having that you need help with, especially with Godot. But we could probably still help with other things like Unity and stuff. So that was probably the problem. I was returning a vector 2i instead of a vector 3i. So let's see if that was it. I really hope that was it. Gustavo, you have a curiosity for some time. Looks like you have an all custom and quite complicated tile set map and rendering. Any particular advantage in using Godot versus a custom engine? For me, yes. We do have a totally custom auto tiling solution. However, our custom auto tiling solution ultimately just feeds into tile map layers. So we are relying on the tile map layer to handle a lot of the drawing and the rendering and setting all that stuff up. And in addition, there's just a lot of stuff that I don't have to worry about because we're using Godot. Like Godot handles our UI, Godot handles our rendering. Eventually, if we go multi-platform, we'll be able to utilize W4 Games, which is a group from Godot, loosely affiliated with, separate company that offers porting capabilities. So there's a lot of stuff that I just don't have to worry about. But you could totally do a custom engine solution. Like Diginanigans is doing, I think, Odin development. Odin is cool. Jai is cool. There's plenty of stuff you could do. I'm not enough of a hardcore programmer. Like, I don't love programming just for the sake of programming. Like, I've had to get good at it, well, quote unquote good. I've had to do it a lot to achieve my goals, but it's definitely not like what I want to be doing. All right, so we're going to set up our little block. That's just me. These are just my personal motivations and reasons for doing things. I love that I can do these little 3D carve outs. That was really easy. Don't mind the tiling, the auto tiler when it freaks out. That's just because it's contending with the flood fill algorithm. All right, so now we're gonna rotate it. Okay, now we're back to normal. Okay, you can watch the doors rotate around. All right, weird problem resolved. It's because we were dropping the Z coordinate. So everything was being compressed onto one Z index. It was just like smashing the whole 3D thing down. Silly mistake. Resolved. That's good. I was definitely, for a minute there, I thought I was in trouble. Nanigans, yep, you're using Odin. You're relying on Raylib. So far from coding everything from scratch. Oh, so far from coding everything from scratch. I don't know how else you could read that, but it confused me. It does a lot of the same heavy lifting, but more as a library rather than an engine. That I get. I get that. For people that are obsessed with like understanding everything that's happening, I totally get the desire to use libraries over engines. I'm just used to using engines. Like I used Unity for like 15 years. So I definitely understand like the trade-off of like all the horrible things that can happen when you're stuck with a proprietary engine. I love Godot. We've been using Godot for probably about a year and a half. Made some jam games in it. And obviously we're making this game in it. I am doing kind of my own thing. There's obviously a line that I draw somewhere. Diginanigans, the biggest thing you miss doing things in that way is no UI exists to make visual things easier. Yeah, the UI, the editor, a lot of built-in stuff just ready to go. It's nice to have. We have split our simulation layer off into its own C# world, its own little domain that's separate from the Godot engine to an extent. It's obviously running in the Godot engine, but we don't, except for the game script, which is like our window between the two, or our doorway, whatever you want to call it. Except for this script, pretty much nothing else in our C# solution touches the Godot API. It's all totally our own thing. And there's just this one point of synchronization between the two, which happens to be a node. So it's probably like more in the Godot world than it is in the C# world. Kind of straddles the domain awkwardly. And then everything else is on one side or the other. So we are definitely kind of doing a mixed solution here. Is that better? Is that worse? I don't know. It's probably worse. I keep forgetting how GDScript works when I go back to it. Okay, so we did that. What's next? What's next? What do we even want to do with our time here? I kind of want to do some visual stuff about tightening up the. Actually, let's expand our buildable area to the theoretical maximum. Theoretical. It's not the theoretical max. It's the largest size that I'm considering. Let's just try that, and then maybe work on our guidelines to make them a little less cluttered and a little less busy. Maybe we even add. I was considering before adding a little UI element that reads out our deck number. Make it a little easier to tell what deck we're on. I think that would be semi-useful. So what needs to happen for us to change these again? We need to, the easiest thing to do is to just go to a grid level and go to a grid layer and expand this. So instead of 32 by 32, we're going to make it 64 by 64, which is absolutely enormous. And honestly, is probably like more than we can even use. But that's kind of what I want to do right now is I kind of want to test the limits so I know where the limits are. I think it's a good time to be doing that. I also want to update this grid lines sheet to include dotted lines. So we might actually draw that out. Shenanigans, your first step into building things in a game engine, quote unquote, was building custom games with the StarCraft Brood War map editor. Nice. Nice. I miss the custom games world. I definitely I didn't ever make any. I wasn't really interested in making games at that point, but the Warcraft 3 custom game specifically, I played so many of those. So many. Is this the wrong one? Yes, it is. All right, this is an absolutely enormous area we're covering here. So we're going from 0 to 63. Yep. All right. We're quadrupling the space that we're dealing with. Insane. But luckily, We mentioned how on Monday we set up a rudimentary multi-threading process. So every step of the, not every step, but two of the major aspects of the auto tiling system are non-blocking now. Oops, eraser. All right, they're non-blocking. So they just do their thing and they update when they're ready. All right, now what we need is an offset. This is going to be a little annoying because as we change this, we are going to be moving it. Like if this grid area is shrinks and grows, because we don't use a zero, because the origin isn't in the center, the origin is in the top. We need to move the thing around all the time, which is fine though, because we've nested it under another node. So we can set it up for the correct position here. So now it's probably minus 256 would be my guess. Yep. This is absolutely enormous. Yeah, so the level itself is always locked to the origin and we just offset the layer. So we should be able to make those changes dynamically if we need to. We're also going to set this to be eight layers. So we'll copy you again, copy you one more time, start moving them down. So we're going to say 96. Uh, 128. We're actually going to change these in a second. I just want to see what they are. What's 128 and 60? So now we need to rebalance this. Oh, having it be 8 is kind of awkward. That's fine. We actually want it to be... Do we want to bias it towards the top or the bottom? Like, do we want to extend higher on top or on bottom? Probably extend it on the bottom. Yes, that's correct. So we'll anchor it to this third one instead of the fourth one. Or the third one is the fourth one. We'll anchor it to grid level 3. Since we have to choose one side or the other, I think it's fine if it extends a little further below than it does above because of the way the tiles get drawn. Oh, we also need to change the ordering. So we actually need to redo the ordering. So you're going to be ordering 0. Oh, what? You're 0. You're 4. Hold on, hang a bell. Okay. Lara Lewis, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. How are you doing today? Welcome to the channel. All right. So we're going to make this the biggest area I'm willing to consider for building, 64 by 64 by 8. Then we're going to redraw these guidelines as dotted lines. I'm tempted to add connective dotted lines, like vertical ones, but I might not do that. That might be more confusing than it is helpful. I'm also tempted to fade them out the farther the mouse cursor is from them. So like as the mouse cursor gets closer to them, maybe we can do like a modulation thing. Like as you get closer to the edges, they light up. But that's probably too much work. Probably more work than it's worth it. I also was having bad experiences modulating individual tile cells before. But it still might be worth doing. Because I want to reduce the amount of visual clutter on the build screen. All right, so we're swapping these. We're giving 4 Z indexes per level. That's about as many as I think we need. I'm actually tempted to start the level at 4 instead of at 0. Give us some space for background stuff, but we could also just say background stuff goes into the negative. Right now we're only using positive. All right, so we've got 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. That's good so far. I just need to physically move them now. So you're going to be 28. We're moving everything up 32. So you're now 96. 64. Hey, Ryson, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. 32. You're our anchor at 0. You're negative 32. You're negative 64. You're negative 96. All right, I think that's good. I think that's visually balanced. Because tiles extend up from this area, generally. Generally how it works. I actually have this guideline. It exists between the floor and the wall. So if we place a floor here, it's below the guideline, and if we place a wall, it's above. Might change my mind about that. But for now, I'm okay with it. All level. Closing all these. Open you up. We do want hull levels, so we want to change this as well. And we need to change the individual layer, don't we? We need to move the layers to their new position. I should check what the new position is. It's minus 16, minus 256. Or minus 16, obviously. Ryson, so the layer is always floor level. Makes sense to you? The surface you'd walk on? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. It might confuse people because it might make people think that it's like... It's ambiguous, right? Because the floor... Because one person's ceiling is another person's floor, right? So it's a little ambiguous, but it's associated with the floor that it's the floor of. It's associated with the deck that it's the floor of, but it visually it appears to be the ceiling of the deck below it. So I don't know. I don't know what you want. Brohart, what's up? Every day we get closer to counting from -1. You're not wrong. You're honestly not wrong. Bryson, what are we working on today? We're implementing the maximum build area that I'm willing to support, which is 64 by 64 by 8. At least that's the maximum build area I'm willing to support now. I think it would be cool to have like a Minbari ship that's like that's more vertical than it is flat. Like to me, it's normal to have a ship that's like wider than it is tall, but there are exceptions. I can't think of any except like a Minbari destroyer. How are you doing, Brohart? How's Spud Customs going? Minbari destroyer. Yeah, like one of these bad boys. That is a terribly small picture. That's a little better. Something that's like more vertical than it is. God, their special effects were so bad. The show was so good. But yeah, traditionally you'd be more likely to see like the ranger ship or the shuttle or whatever. It's like flatter. You know, it would be really cool to be able to support the Earth Destroyer like rotating sections. I think that would be really cool to be able to do. I don't think that's going to be in the cards for us. We're just going to say everyone has artificial gravity. Oh, they got some 3D models. And Bari warship, nice. Pretty good here. You just finished a tutorial video for a new security product you're gearing up to sell this year to scan websites for bugs. Hell yeah. Make that money. Your co-dev added a gun to Spud Customs. Oh, okay. Completely unbalanced, so you're pondering a recoil system to penalize long bursts. Love that Omega Destroyer. Hell yeah. Yeah, I can't wait till the system's a little more fleshed out in terms of the variety of things that we can build, so that we have like silhouettes and we can start thinking about actual spaceship design. Right now, it's like we're the Borg, except we're even more boring than the Borg because we have no texturing. All right, so we're offsetting the deck layer to its maximum. I'm not pleased about having to dynamically alter these. But we don't need to do that right now. Did you all... I don't understand how to change whether a change to a parent, or not a child scene. When you've instantiated a child scene or whatever they call it, sometimes it seems like it automatically updates to the parent's position, and sometimes it does not. Kind of annoying. What did I even change? So you're right, minus 16, minus 256. Oh, do I need to change their actual, the base one, this one? I have a little bit too much nesting here, I think. Minus 256. It's intended such that I can make a change to the baseline and all of these update, but that doesn't seem to always happen. Okay, it happened this time. Seems to be happening. Seems to be a little inconsistent. What about the door? What does the door extend from? Yeah, so the door is not override. Okay, so it yielded to the change to its... I don't know, I want to call it a prefab, but Godot doesn't have the concept of prefabs explicitly, or they don't call it the same way. So yeah, here the door layer refused to change. Revert. Oh well. Oh, yeah, some of these, the bulk layers are refusing to revert as well. So just change you. It's annoying that I have to manually check all of these. All right, so now from a visual standpoint, or from a node standpoint, we support 64 by 64 by 8. And the camera can barely see like a quarter of that area at a time. That's some endgame shit. If we eventually do allow for like space stations and stuff, we could just make it 64 by 64 by 64. Allow for more vertical structures. But for now, we're gonna favor horizontal over vertical. I do have an idea for like a Babylon 5 style, either like an expansion or like a sequel or something, where we change the action to be more about the goings on within a space station. That would be like our Deep Space Nine. But right now we're working on like classic Star Trek stuff. We're working on TOS, TNG style adventures. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for DS9, Babylon 5. We got to earn it. We got to work our way up to it. All right, so I tried to set this up to be in one place so that I can just change one variable. It should be this. 63, 63, 7. See, I'm sure, actually, I know for a fact that we are making a presumption somewhere else. So if I go to the tile system, yeah, we have levels 5. Levels needs to be 8. And then do we need to account for that? I feel like we're accounting for this dynamically on the Godot side. I feel like none of this is hard-coded. It shouldn't be. Hull levels, unpack tilemap data. Yeah, you don't make any presumptions about the number of these things. Good. All right. This is going to be much slower, but that's okay because it's multi-threaded now. Just going to be a little slower to update things like the flood fill, or it's going to instantly crash. Out of bounds, get index 35 on base array tilemap layer. Curious. For child and get children, for grandchild and child.getChildren. All layers.append grandchild. Huh. Oh, I didn't actually do this. Wait. How is that possible? Oh, I didn't actually change. I'm like only looking at the guide. I'm not looking at the actual hull levels thing. I need to do the same thing here. Duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Yeah, let you put up posters on the walls of your shuttle. There's gonna be all sorts of stuff like that. With the ships being this big, I think we can realize the dream of actually having like shuttles in the shuttle bay. Like, there's some stuff we could do that I want to do. Like it's an important thing for me that these ships are big enough that they actually like have the things that a ship would need to have. Like I hate the whole like the Enterprise doesn't have any toilets if you look at the diagrams or whatever, like that bullshit. I liked Firefly because in Firefly the Serenity had like bedrooms, it had like a kitchen. People lived in shuttles, like it had guest quarters. Like it didn't just have rooms that are like the gameplay rooms. It didn't just have like an infirmary and a cockpit and like a weapons. I mean, it didn't have a weapons room at all because it's a cargo ship. But like, I want there to be room for like places for the crew to go. Because like, if you get ambushed and you're not expecting a fight, your crew should just be around. Like, some of them should be eating, some of them should be sleeping. Like, it shouldn't be like FTL where everyone is just standing perfectly still at their command consoles like 100% of the time. I want to add a little bit of like RimWorld-esque, like people are kind of wandering around. Unless it's like red alert. If it's like red alert or whatever, or yellow alert, people like stop what they're doing and they go man their battle stations or whatever. But like if you're just cruising, there should be like shift changes, like people should be going off and doing their own thing, which is part of why I think we're heading back towards a real-time version of this game, because then it's easy, because then it's just like stuff is happening, people are making decisions, they're doing activities, like great grandchild broheart. Yeah, I enjoy when I'm going through a nested series of get children. I think it's funny to go child and get children, grandchild and child dot get children. I haven't needed to do great grandchild yet, but I'm not above it. I am not above doing that. I think that's funny. I think if you need to go beyond great grandchild, you probably have a bigger problem, but all right. So, right, I know what our problem is. We need to address these. So 3 is our 0, 0. That's what we've decided. So 2 will go up to, by up, I mean down, as Godot. Because the enemy's gate is down. All right, so that is done. What we also need to do though is we need to check the ordering. Yeah. So the ordering is gonna start 0. Oops. Somehow I changed this to 127. I think I used the arrow key. Ordering 4. So we gotta manually set some Z index buffers here. We just gotta like make some space for each layer to kind of do its own thing. With tilemap layer, managing Z indexing has been like crazy easy. It's kind of amazing. It's so much easier than the old tilemap system used to be. Tilemap layers are like just a dream. All right. Now we should be good. Now there should be the 8 levels that we need, and then each level has 7 layers at the moment. It will probably have more. I'm thinking about smashing together the door layer with the bulk layer. So like you can have a bulk layer, and the bulk layer will have bulks like that are just straight square cubic walls. But I think I'm going to start calling these kinds of things, these kinds of partial blocks, like these sloped blocks, I think I'm going to call these decoration. So they're both a bulk and a decoration. I don't know. It depends on how I want to handle actual decorations. Like actual decorations, like computer terminals, or even more the poster on the shuttle wall, like Brohart says. I actually have to decide how I want to handle that. The extent I want that to be recorded in the block versus some other way. I guess if it's gameplay related, it needs to be recorded in the block, and it can't just be a consequence of texturing. All right, so are we good now? Can we support 8 layers? So here's 1, go down, 2, 3, 4. Oops, went too far. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we got 8 layers. Kind of insane. This area, this is just huge. Like actually navigating a ship of this size would basically be impossible. You would need to be using like hotkeys or command groups or something like that. Or maybe you'll have like a list of all your crew members on the top, and they'll have like num keys associated with them or something. So you can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and like bounce between each of them. Probably do it like that, like StarCraft command groups or something like that. Make them rearrangeable if you want. All right, let's do, so this is a stress test from like a, I don't understand this weird thing that's happening. I'm a little concerned about this. Kind of weird visual glitch. I don't know how clear it is on the stream, but I can like very much see kind of weird thing that happens every once in a while. Where they almost become see-through. For like a split second. I need to look at how I'm laying out the tiles, or look at the underlying things. Unclear to me what's happening there. Some kind of transparency issue or something. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm updating it all the time. It might be a consequence of the update. It only seems to happen when I do camera. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. All right. So we're just doing this. We're just going to try to see how slow we can make the auto tiler by just completely filling all of this space. All right. Do we got them all? We got them all. Okay. Yeah. Watch. So yeah, it's taking a few frames to even just update the cutaway system, but it's okay because the camera is still fully responsive. I mean, obviously this is like literally the worst case scenario. And we can make it a lot easier by just hollowing out the walls. If I do this and then start going up. So I'm hollowing out each layer here. That's what I'm doing. And then how long does this take to update? We're going to watch. Yep, there it is. That took a few seconds. Not optimal. But obviously this is not a real use case. Oh, this is not good. Now we're actually running into some real hangups. I wonder what this is. Maybe this is the unpacking the tile maps? No, that doesn't make a lot of sense. We might actually need to run the profiler and see what's happening here. Because the auto tiler is on its own thread, so it's not the source of this. But something is. I wonder what it is. I wonder what's causing this lag. If it's redrawing at each frame, might be a consequence of rounding the nearest pixel. Maybe. I don't know. Whatever it is, it doesn't feel like it's a consequence of what I'm doing. I mean, it feels like it's a rendering problem, not like something I'm doing. The only thing I could think of is it might have to do with updating the, like resetting the tile map data every few frames. All right, well, the auto tiler feels responsive. Like the cutaway system, like this is still only taking like a few frames. So I don't think that's the source of this camera jerkiness. I wonder what it is. Let's run this in windowed mode. We're gonna run it in windowed mode, and we're gonna run the profiler. The physics frame time is saying 16.66, but that's because it's the physics frame time, right? What's the difference between physics time and physics frame? Oh, physics frame time is constant. Right. So what we're interested in, we're interested in a few things here. Let's just watch frame time for now. Do we want frame time? Or do we want average time? Let's watch frame time for a moment. So I'm going to just start. We can make this a little bigger so people can see what's going on here. Oh, I got to do it diagonally. I really want to embed. I should 4.4 will have this, right? Where I can just embed the game screen in the editor. Can't wait for that. I know I could just install it. Okay, I think these issues. Okay, I want to see both. Can I not see both? Okay, there we go. All right, so now we're just going to start stressing the system out and see where the problem is. I think it's some kind of drawing issue, or I don't know. It could be just the sheer amount of time it takes to swap out this much tile map data. We're starting to see a hang up. Yeah, okay, we're seeing the spikes. Where are these spikes? What are these? Let's find the spike. 42, here it is. So 42 physics time. So it's the physics time. So I think what is happening, doesn't seem like I can get any more precise than that. It's a shame. We can switch over to debugging in Writer, probably. And it's happening pretty rarely. So like we have a spike here, and then the next spike, so this is 559. Next spike is in did I go past it? Okay, so we have 40 milliseconds, 590, and then the next one is not for like, I don't know, 6 something. 690. Okay, the next one is like 50 to 100 milliseconds later. Or frames later. So it's in the physics time. So it's not drawing. It's not tilemap related. If it's in the physics time, what it is, it's this. So it's the game's physics process call. Which honestly, this doesn't need to be in physics process now because we're only doing stuff. We actually need to start tracking our own delta time because we are only calling we're only running the main system every once in a while. So we actually need to maintain our own delta time, but I don't want to read that whole article about managing your own delta time right now, fixing your delta time. I have some resources saved on how to run your own correct version of delta time, and that's what we're going to need to do eventually, but we don't care right now. So this stuff is taking some time, which doesn't actually seem possible. It is this. So I think it is unpacking just that much tile data. I think that much tile data is just too much to do smoothly. So what do we do about that? Is there a way to put that on its own thread? Not really, right? Because it's interacting with the engine. And how would I even do that? How could I can't await this call. Or maybe I can. So we need to call all of these. Oh, this is just one call. This is a single call passing in all the tiles. So if we're going to figure this out, this is non-contributing. So what we need to do is we need to like turn the unpacking of tilemap data into like an async function. If we want to continue this whole like unlimited amounts of just working on huge amounts of data and not worrying about how long it takes to complete. Which could have some negative consequences someday. Diginanigans, what does unpacking do? Does it need to update every frame or can it be cached? Things are changing. Can you even just send through what has changed as opposed to every tile? Yes. And no. So unpacked tile map data is what it's doing is it's taking the entire packed byte array that's all of the tile map data for every layer of every level of this ship, which right now is 8 times 7. So that's 56 tile maps. Their data is all packed in here. It doesn't need to happen in a single frame. It can't be cached. Because what I'm doing is I'm just setting tilemap data. Like I'm just plugging in a whole new set of tilemap data. There is another way you could do it. So instead of that, what you could do instead is you could go... So our only option is either to completely swap out the array, which is like this. You just set tilemap data. The other option is to go through cell by cell and change that. So we just do set cell. I don't think this will be faster unless we're only changing a few tiles. And in many cases, we would only be changing a few tiles. Like we might actually do it this way when playing the game, because the auto tiler is only going to be changing a few tiles at once when you're actually playing the game. Like it might, like let's say someone like phaser blasts a wall. The auto tiler is like, oh, I need to show a damaged version of that wall and the walls next to it. Like that's easy. Then we could just do set cell and we can make pinpoint changes where we need to. But I think right here in the editor mode, I think we need to be prepared for the possibility that someone like changes like half the tile map in one go. Like I just like destroy, like I erase everything or create a whole bunch of stuff. So I think from an editing context, we need to just swap the whole thing out. What we don't need to do is do that all in one frame. So we can do what I am always loath to do in GDScript, which is to use async. So how can I call? So I need to call an async await from C# into GDScript. I don't want to do. This is about communicating with other scripting languages. Here we go. Await keyword. Something similar to GDScript's await keyword can be achieved with C#'s await keyword. Yeah, that's basically the same. The await keyword in C# can be used with any awaitable expression, commonly used with operands of the types task, task result, value task, or value task result. What the F is value task? What is the benefit of a value task? Okay. So there's the value tasks are some kind of stricter version of a task that I don't fully understand yet. Can only be awaited once. Okay. Can't be called multiple times. I don't understand this one yet. That's fine. We're going to ignore it and just keep using task. Okay, this isn't cross-language communication, though. Oh, this is just communicating with other scripting languages and then the await keyword. We're just talking about await in C#. I want to talk about awaiting a function in GDScript from C#. That's maybe too much. You might need to do that a different way. So what we could do instead, oh, it's a single task. So what we could do is we could handle this on the GDScript side. We don't really need to worry C# about this. The only concern is if it takes longer to handle the unpacking than it takes to handle everything else. So that's a little bit of a concern. Kind of why I want to await. Kind of want to await the unpacking before we do everything else, but safety is not our first name. Certainly not. Not even our middle name. Right. Wait. So can I await a GDScript function? It actually looks like maybe I can. And it doesn't look like you need to decorate your GDScript functions any particular way to make it a coroutine. It seems like it's just if you await the function, it just becomes something you can await. There were some requirements listed somewhere here. But these are just an equivalent of waiting a signal in GDScript. Blah, blah, blah. Wait to signal, print after timeout. Well, I can't await this because this is we'd have to add a little bit more structure around here. What would be cool I can make a separate task that just awaits this function. Or I can make it so if main task is completed, if not main task is completed, return. So what I could do is here I could make this the new main task. And then or what I could do is I could insert a main task here, make this the main task, and then I could add a task here. Do I need to do that by just saying continue with? 'Cause what if I don't put a task here? Maybe I flip the order of these so this happens last. Oh, because there actually might be multiple sets of tiles that we need to get through. It's unlikely. It's actually virtually impossible. Hmm. I might rework our task system a little later and just accept the slowness for now. But I think there's a way where we could set up a child task. Set up a task here that awaits the call to unpack tilemap data. You can just do like this, right? Yeah, I just need to make it an async task. So I need to break this out into an async task. So I would say like private async task unpack tile map data. We would want to reference the data. Byte data. So we would say we would move this down. What actually we want to just, if we call it every time, regardless of this, then we always have a task that we can continue with here. We could say main task is this unpack task dot continue with main system dot run. So we could wait for the unpacking to finish, then continue the running. And then next time we call physics process, this won't be done. But we're still waiting for the unpacking to happen before we do the next call. And that prevents us from accidentally presenting the data before we're ready to unpack the next set. I don't think that's necessary strictly, but this should work. Yeah, so I'm going to do this. Let's say I'm going to do it like this. This way, this task will handle all of the unpacking, and on the insane off chance that there's more than one set of tiles to unpack, which actually is possible once we're updating more than one ship. So instead of instead of passing the data, I don't want to do. We're going to do this, and then we're going to say await. Okay, so why can't I await? Type Godot.variant is not awaitable. Okay. So maybe we can't await across domains. Maybe that's like not a thing we can do. Variant call. Calls the method on the object and returns the result. This method supports a variable number of arguments. Note, in C#, method must be in snake case, referring to built-in Godot methods. We're using the names exposed in the method name class to avoid allocating a new string name on each call. Oh, well, I'm not doing that, but that would probably be smart. Okay, so maybe we can't do it this way. This is what I want to do, though. I'm not sure how this would interact because of how this is crossing domains here. See if anyone's talked about this. Await a GD script function call from C#. Oh, what I could do is I could just straight call the function and then await a signal. Because it looks like I could potentially... Let's do some reading. Yeah, I think we can await a signal. So we could set up a signal to associate with the unpacking, and then we could potentially await that. Since it seems like we can't await a variant call, like a method call. Let me see about this. It's also possible that we try to do the unpacking from the C# side, but that's really not what I want to do. Equivalent of awaiting a signal in GDScript can be achieved with the await keyword and Godot object.toSignal. Ah, yeah, okay, so that is literally their recommended way of doing this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to call the function, and the function itself on the Godot side will have an await, and it will emit a signal. And when we receive the signal, we'll consider that to be the end of the function, since we can't await the function itself. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Tight, tight, tight. No, not a video. Here we go. Yield and resume? Is that really how I need to do this? Variant is an insane type. Like, I didn't realize that when you called a method from C#, it was literally... Do I need to specify that this is a void? Is that maybe part of my problem? Yeah, the Godot variant is not awaitable. That's so insane. The call... Oh, because we can't actually tell... I'm interested about this. Prefer using the names exposed in the method name class to avoid allocating a new string name on each call. I'm curious about this. Oh, thanks. Wait, why did you just... Oh, you just sent me to a Google search for... Okay. I mean, it's a DuckDuckGo search, but still. So how do I... So where the F is the method names. You can access methods... No. Maybe. How do I get the method name, though? Do I need to do a get method? That's different than call. So I wanted something else. I wanted Godot object.call. Godot object. Godot object.call. Okay. Calling GDScript methods from C#. You use Godot object.call. Prefer using the names exposed in the method name class. So would I literally just say method name? Method name. Oh, shit. This is literally a list of the method name string things. Is it in here? Unpack. Well, no. Is this all? No, here's level up or down and queue input. Where are the rest of my custom names here? Oh, is this not? These are just the ones in this class. So can I not actually do this? Or do I need to save a string name? So I don't allocate a new one every single time. Seems to be what I need to do. It doesn't feel great. Look in the U. Update. No, okay, so it's not in here. Oh, maybe it is. This isn't alphabetical. Okay, so that doesn't totally work. Levels. Can I do dot method name? No. Or levels dot get method list. What does this do? As a string. No, I need a string name. So should I just... Can I specify that this is a string name here? How do we do that? Like this? Or this? Do I specify a string name? Input handler. And string. Okay, can I do that here? Is that recognized? In C#? No, it is not. So how do I do that then? Is it like this? No, it's not. Okay, I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. That's fine. This doesn't run all the time. The allocation is not the end of the world. What we want to set up is, this thing they're recommending. Connecting to signals. I don't want to connect to a signal. I want to say the thing they're recommending here. Await to signal timer.signalName.timeout. Godot object.toSignal. So we would call this function, and then we would say await levels to signal Godot object source levels. Do I not need to mention this? Oh, do I just say to signal? Yes, I do. Signal awaiter to signal levels. And then I just need a name for this signal. Stick. What are we going to call this? Tilemap data unpacked. And that we can await. Isn't that cool? And then on this only works at the moment for a single tilemap data update. Probably need to change it a little bit if we're updating multiple tilemaps. But now I need to make sure that this function can yield and doesn't force itself to take a whole frame. And to do that, I need to understand. I actually don't want to wait. I want yield. Maybe we'll just go to await. Await. Waits for a signal or a coroutine to finish. No. Yield. Previously used for coroutines. Kept as keyword for transition. So what do I use yield for? Yield. Yield improvements. You're not using yield the way I'm wanting you to. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Waiting signals are coroutine. The await keyword can be used to create coroutines, which wait until a signal is emitted before continuing execution. Oh, so there might be a little bit more about this on the Godot side. I might actually need to call a function which awaits another function that then triggers a signal. Okay. Because we need to make sure that this function is a coroutine. Unless there's some other stuff we can await. But I don't want to await on a button. I want a different kind of await. Confirmed equals await confirmation. Kind of cool that we can just await a button like that. Wait, how are we sure that wait confirmation? Oh, wait confirmation has an await in it. So you need to have an await in it for it to be a coroutine, or someone needs to await it for it to be a coroutine. Okay, so I need to put an await in the function for it to be a coroutine. Not quite as easy to do on the GDScript side. Because we're just trying to break up the work. We're not trying to like... I mean, it's a loop, so I guess we could try to do like a yield. But I don't think yield works like that anymore in GDScript. Wait confirmation. However, if you don't depend on the result, you can just call it asynchronously, which won't stop execution and won't make the current function a coroutine. See? Okay, so you can't just call an await on a function. Unlike yield in previous Godot versions, you cannot obtain the function state object. Okay. This is done to ensure type safety. With this type safety in place, a function cannot say that it returns an int while it actually returns a function state object during runtime. Okay. Can you tell me how I can use yield now? What I want to do, I want to break up the work involved. With a yield. I guess I should look up coroutines. Maybe they have more information on here. Coroutine. No, they do not. Waiting signals are okay, this is just the same section that I read. So this, I don't know when this was written. Seems like a long time ago. This talks about yield and resume. So you can yield the function and then resume it. We would need to tie it into we would need to tie it into like a process function to do that. But I feel like this is out of date. Just start typing in the editor, see what it tells us. So like I could go here and I could say, I could basically yield at the end of each of these loops. Every time we assign a tilemap data, I could just basically yield. Yield was removed in Godot 4. Use await instead. Okay. But await what? I mean, I could do this from the other side. I could specify, like having this be packed. It's nice if this is all packed together. But we could also handle the asynchronous part of it on the C# side and then just send the data over one layer at a time or one level at a time. We could also do other things, like we could try to only send over levels that have changed. Like instead of sending over only the change data per layer, we could just not send over layer data that hasn't changed at all. Okay. This is more complicated than I want it to be, which is fair. For now, we're just going to accept the fact that there's a hang up here and a bottleneck. I think I need to more thoroughly... We're doing some awkward stuff because we're crossing over from this C# domain over into this GDScript domain. We're trying to call across it in a way that's kind of awkward. Yeah, it's nice to be able to just send a single array because then we're just pinning this one array and sending it over. It's not like this big allocation problem. I mean, in theory, we could just pin multiple arrays and send them over. It's not like that would take more space. And it would actually take advantage of the fact that this is like that the tiles thing is a queue. The only thing is we would need a new header. We would need a header that basically identifies the node that this thing is associated with, or the level or whatever. We would need more information. And the problem is, well, I mean, we're just sending over a byte array, so we can actually encode arbitrary information. We would need to know what node we're trying to send this data to. Right now, we're just sending, we're like, here's all of your tilemap data, go replace it. Or we could be a little more targeted and we could say, here's the tilemap data for level 3, layer 4, or whatever. We don't have to specify layers, but we could at least specify levels. I mean, we'll eventually need to specify the node of like, here's the tilemap data for ship A. Plug this into ship A. Right now, we just have the one ship, which is like the build area that we're doing. It's not even a ship, it's just the build area. So we only have one volume that we're working on. So we don't have to worry about that. But I think that's the direction we're going to start heading in. Sending over less data every frame and specifying where the data is going to end up. So that's fine. We're not going to do that right now, though. I need to do some more research about the best way to get... I think this is this is a decent thing of like, we call a function on GDScript side, and then we await a signal from that node we're calling that node whose method we're calling. So we call a method and we wait a signal back. That's the easiest way to do that. But the thing is, there's no... That'll still just hang up because we're trying to do all of the work synchronously on the GDScript side. So we either need to try to manage it there, which it doesn't seem like... It seems like the way... It doesn't seem like you're supposed to be able to split up work, like a workload in a function. In Godot, like where you do an amount of work and then you yield a frame and then you do some work and like yield another frame, like, which is how I'm used to like coroutines working in Unity. Okay, this is just some bullshit on Reddit I don't need to read. Yeah, because the way I understand it, whatever work we ask Godot to do, I'm not really in control of like the threading of that. I should actually try to understand more about how threading works on GDScript. This is for calculation. I guess that's one thing I could do. That would be kind of insane, which would be spin up another thread, have that function run on that other thread, and then just wait for that to finish to emit the signal. Then we're not trying to do any of this per frame yielding bullshit or like splitting up the work on the C# side. If you're using other languages, C#, C++, it may be easier to use the threading classes they support. Yeah, no shit. Thread safe APIs. Like this would be safe only if I'm guaranteeing that we're only interacting with a tilemap layer from one place. Like I would need to make sure that we're not contending for a tilemap layer from multiple points, for multiple calls. That's pretty easy to guarantee. I don't know how thread pooling works in Godot. Like it seems reasonable to use threads for loading, for like loading new tilemap data and stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to interact with the scene tree. That's insane. In GDScript, reading and writing elements from multiple threads is okay, but anything that changes the container size requires locking in mutex. That makes sense. Kind of cool that I can... I mean, obviously, that's like the exact situation that we're in C#. In that we're doing lazy, non-synchronizing, multi-threading right now, but it's fine because we're not resizing the spans we're working with. As soon as we start resizing the spans, we're in trouble. I wonder if I should like use the RID of the tile map layer and set its data in the server. I actually don't know how that works. Like, who owns that data? Like, who owns the nodes? Like, which server owns all the nodes? Or like a scene tree server? Worker thread pool. Yeah, okay, so I don't want to have to create threads. It would be cool. Ooh, I could take a group of tasks and distribute them. That would be cool. I could set a I could still assemble. Ooh. If I could send the pinned read only array from C# of like all the tile map data and then assign a group of tasks, which is just calling the unpack multiple times. If it's aware of which of like if it keeps track of like an index in the group or something like that, that could be super useful. So your example is you have an array of enemies. You have a function to process enemy AI for an enemy index. Okay. So far, so good. You have a variable processed enemy equals enemies, enemy index, right? Expensive logic. Yeah, like our setting the tile map data. Then in process, we say variable task ID equals worker thread pool dot add group task, process enemy AI, enemies dot size. Add group task. I want to look into that. Then you have some code, and then you have worker thread pool, wait for group task completion. So we could have this wait for group task completion, and on that, we could send the signal. And that way we could at least keep this to a single call, and we can still use the single set of byte data with just like a single header of like the destination or something. Note, using this singleton could affect performance negatively if the task being distributed between threads is not computationally expensive. Okay, fair enough. The above code relies on the number of elements in the enemy's array remaining constant during the multi-threaded part. That's fine. So what is this called? Add group task. Action callable, elements int. Tasks needed. Int equals -1. High priority bool equals false. Description string. All right, add group task. How do we, can the callable here in this example has an index. So it sounds like the add group task for the function called passes the index of the element that is currently being associated with a specific call. And if that's the case, that's super easy because then we can associate it with a specific layer. And that's pretty good. This could actually work pretty great. It'd be funny if the performance is actually bad because the act of updating an individual tile map is like not expensive enough. But clearly the act of updating all of them is expensive, so to the tune of like 40 milliseconds. At least that was the cost of trying to update all 56 tile maps in the same frame on the main thread. So adds action as a group task to be executed by the worker threads. Yeah. Callable will be called a number of times based on elements. Wait, elements is an int? I thought elements was an array. Oh, no. Enemies dot size. Ah, okay. Oh, so wait, how do I pass the, oh, it's just a member variable. That's not great. But that's doable. We would just have to set the property and then call. Or no, we could call, because we're going to call a function that manages the creation of this worker thread pool thing. And then we can just pass the array, the byte array into that. And then that function can make it a member variable, update the member variable, reassign it to this current array. And then it can call the worker thread pool thing. Now we're thinking with thread pools. Sick. Okay, so yeah, passes the index. Number of threads the task distributed to is defined by tasks needed. The default value -1 meant is it is distributed to all worker threads. That doesn't seem good. Determines if the task is a high priority or a low priority. Okay, as long as we leave it at low priority, that's probably fine. Returns a group task ID that can be used by other methods. Cool. Warning, every task must be waited for completion using wait for task completion or wait for group task completion at some point so that any allocated resources inside the task can be cleaned up. KKK. So we do this, wait for group task completion. Oh, I don't like this. Pauses the thread that calls this method till the group task with the given ID is completed. That is not what we want. Unless we initiate this whole thing from the C# side, which is kind of insane. Kind of insane to do that. Unless... No, that's not right. We could make the task that manages all of this a coroutine and then just fire it and forget it. Huh. This could be okay. I guess the question is whether it just makes more sense to do the unpacking from the C# side. I feel like for marshalling reasons, the answer is no. Because the unpacking process is actually making copies of like the slices. Like when it makes a slice of the array and it uses that slice. So it would be better to do that on the GDScript side. Probably. I guess maybe it's fine because it's a primitive array. And we could maybe pin it. Like maybe it pins each slice. Just uses that. I'm just very cautious about how often we're going back and forth from the managed to unmanaged sides of things. I wonder if it's better to just dedicate a separate thread for this unpacking rather than trying to like add this work to like every other thread. I wonder if it's better to just have a dedicated thread working on this. Oh, variant, wait to finish.
Maximum warp.
Hey, maximum warp no jewel. How's it going? I don't remember if I mentioned it, but I really love that like bubble trail thing that you made. I've shown it to some friends who have been working on trails. They were working on some 3D trails, and I was like, forget 3D trails. Look at this bubble trail. Hell yeah, pixel art version next? Hell yeah. That's awesome. We're trying to manage some workloads that at the moment are sequential. We've identified a bottleneck in our tilemap editor, which is updating the tilemap data. At this scale, we're actually starting to see some major hangups of like 40, 50 milliseconds, something in that range. And so we're thinking about how to spread that work around. We're thinking about a worker thread pool. Thinking about how we would set that up. Might be something we pick up tomorrow again or do offline. I gotta head out in maybe like 45 minutes or something. And we're definitely not gonna fix this by then. Kind of want to work on other stuff like the getting the different versions of the guide systems working. So wait, what how about that job safety thing? Thought I could control that. It just said I could control that from here. That thread safety checks. This is useful for scripts running on either arbitrary thread objects or tasks submitted to the worker thread pool. This is useful. Oh, so how do I manage that then? So worker thread, task ID. Is there something I can then do with the task ID? Group task ID that can be used by other methods. So then do I say something like, how do I control this? From the worker thread pool. You're heading out? I'll talk to you later. Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Rayson. Have a great rest of your day. I know, we're doing the exciting work here. We could use semaphores. So we could make one thread for this purpose instead of trying to assign all of the work to the thread pool. That's a kind of exciting to me, but it also might not be like it's exciting to me and it seems like a good use case because then we just update the tilemap data in each one. That might not be considered a safe use of that, but we could guarantee that we're only updating one layer from each thread. Like we're not contending with other threads. I don't really need to use mutexes. Yeah, we don't need to do that. All right. We'll pick up this multi-threading question a little later, I think. I think I'm going to just work on the other issues that we need to deal with. Except that it's kind of slow right now. So I can come up with a better way to do it. So what we would do is we would have the pack tilemap data. You would get an index. Or we couldn't pass the tilemap data in. We'd read it from like a member variable. We would have our index. So we would just check the layer sizes at that index. Then we would figure out. Actually, don't know if that's layer size now. Or if it's starting index. It might be starting index. Yeah, so it's consecutive. Okay. So each layer size for I has it's not really a size, it's more of like a layer start rather than a layer size. It's like the index at which that layer starts. Is that right? I don't know. Whatever this function works, so that's how it is. But yeah, I think the goal would be to assign each layer to a thread pool, and then each layer would get updated separately. If that's like not computationally expensive enough to warrant that, we could do it per level instead. And that would probably be fine. Right now, we just accept that it's kind of slow when we take it to the max here. Yeah, this is just the hang up from loading the tilemap data. We definitely need to set those up as tasks. That's also something that could just, you know, take a frame or two. We wouldn't care. Probably wouldn't even take a frame or two if we're using multiple threads for it, though. Weird is that I still see it even if we're not, like, we shouldn't see the slowdown here when I'm not mousing over anything, but we are, which is that's a little concerning. That makes me think that we're running the auto tiler even when there's no changes being made. So I actually should probably look into that a little bit. Seems like we're running it all the time when we should not be. We should only be running it. So board, so process. We're not emit an interaction and the course coords are not equal to prior coords. Oh, so it's just calling this all the time. I guess that makes sense. But what we should not be doing is updating the tilemap data if we're outside of the space. So tool system. So we call hover. So here's our hover. We say reveal block at. Oh, I see why this happens. I see why this is running every time. We could set it up so that it doesn't. We would need to keep track of a little more state. Yeah, that should not be happening. All right, let's work on our area guides. So I want to find this file. Grid lines. I really need to organize this stuff. I kind of want to change this a little bit. I guess this is fine. What we want to do is we want to make a dotted line version of this. We call this solid line. Make a new row or a new layer for dotted line. We need to increase the canvas size. Double it exactly. Now we're going to add some dotted line stuff. What's the dotted line for? So right now we just have one set of guidelines here. This is like the theoretical max build. This is like the maximum boundary. This is the boundary of where you can build. And right now it's a solid line. I want to make it a dotted line. And I want the solid line to actually be closer in. I want the solid line to update and show you the bounding box of where you're actually building. So you can see what the volume of the final product is going to be. And then have the dotted line be like, you really can't go farther than this. I also want to do some modulation so that you don't see it all the time. I don't love that these lines just are there. I mean, we do some modulation in that, like, We hide them. You can only really see the layer, or the layer that you're currently on is the brightest. I don't think this is a great system, which is why I kind of want to add a UI element that tells you what deck you're on. We're also going to make this interface a little different for build mode versus play mode, I'm realizing. Because if you're in play mode, there should be like a ray cast to like wherever you're actually like mousing over. But in build mode, you want to be able to move through the space very purposefully and lay stuff down. So we're going to do a little I'm seeing some different stuff we're going to need to line up there, but that's to be expected. So I just want to very quickly draw a dotted line version of this. And how is this going to look? Be my question. Also, what? Oh, do I not need an actual, does it not need to be 32 by 32? Well, we're going to try. I actually don't understand how this is organized exactly. Oh no, it is 32 okay. Oh, this is the top and this is the bottom. I see how this works. So how are we going to do the dotted line part? Are we just going to make them like this? Or are we just going to do like this? Probably the easiest way to do this. Do it like that. Dot, 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 like literally a dotted line. I prefer dashes, but I think this is going to be easier to do in this case. Like I prefer when my dotted lines aren't just literal dots, but probably the easiest way to do it here. Except this. Maxim, hello, what game are you making? Hey Maxim. We're working on a game kind of like FTL faster than light. We're trying to work on like an isometric 3D version of this. So we've been mostly working on a 3D auto tiling tool that will let us build these kind of three-dimensional ships. I don't know if you're familiar with FTL faster than light. Kind of like a starship simulator, kind of like a game where you kind of have your own kind of Star Trek style little ship and you've got a crew and systems to manage, trying to fulfill that Star Trek fantasy of being a starship commander. But we're just taking a different approach to it. We're taking kind of a larger scale approach to it. Make it a bit less of a puzzle game and more of like a RimWorld style like simulation game. How are you doing? We've mostly been working on the tools, so I don't have fun gameplay to show you at the moment. Welcome into the channel, by the way. I don't know if I said that. It's a little awkward, this wibbly wobbly thing that happens here, but... Oh, wait. No, that's fine. That's actually fine. All layers, all frames. All right, so that's good. Now what we need to do is we need to update the tile set to accept that. Grid layer, grid lines. Yeah, so we need to update this tile set. Tile set. There we go. Doot, 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 doot. Are any of these needing offsets? No, they don't, right? They're really simple. Yeah, they don't need offsets at all. I love that. You love to see it. That's all we needed to do. Now we just need to redraw these. Maxim, that sounds really cool. You play that for sure. I appreciate that. Good luck with making the game. Thank you very much. Yeah, please check back in. We do this 5 times a week, streaming all the time. We're still pretty early days, but yeah, please check back. You should see some progress. We're still deep in the systems and the tools, but I feel like once we've got that under our belt, things are going to start proceeding pretty quickly. I'm taking that gamble of, spend a lot of time working on tools to hopefully spend a lot less time having to work on the game. We'll see. We'll see how the extent to which that pays off for us. I'm hopeful. But yeah, thank you for stopping by. See you again soon. Oh, right click erases. That's fun. Maybe I should do that. Oh, no, because what I'm doing is left click is select and right click is place. Or left click is select, right click is interact. So you left click to choose something and then you right click to like send it somewhere or do something with it. So I can't actually just do right click place or left click place, right click erase, unfortunately. Maybe I can do that. I don't know. No, I kind of think the select mechanic is going to be important. Like, I feel like it's very often the case that you're going to draw something and then be like, I need to move this 1 square to the left. It would really suck if you weren't able to, like, replace it. Yeah, I like these dotted lines. I think these are going to look good. I think this will be a little less offensive as, like, the outer limit markers. No jewel or triangles? Oh, triangles would have been an interesting choice. A still needs work. How would it look with 1 corner of the squares removed? 1 corner of the square. Yeah, let's try it. Let's look at it. Thank you again, anonymous gifter. Whoever you may be. Hitting no jewel with the phaser blast of Twitch subscription ship. How are you doing? Still needs work. How's school and stuff? All right. So you're thinking maybe like one of the outside points would look cool. Like getting rid of like I don't know, this. Something like this. That actually might look really sick. I don't know if I'm going to like that more or this more. I think it depends on how I use it. Let's try both. I think I want to try this one first. I think this better fits what we're trying to do. If I understand this correctly. We're just going to try these ones. We'll worry about these in a second because these would be like, you do like this. Yeah, that could be really sick. That's a good suggestion. Needs work. You finished those classes. You stayed up until 8 a.m. Ooh, you got everything handed in. It felt great. And then you were really tired. Yeah, that's awesome. I know that's like you're running on adrenaline at that point, and it sucks when you run out. But that's great. That's a great achievement. Oh, so do I like this version of it, or do I want the other? Oh no, I kind of like it because it's doing this kind of thing at the corners. It's like an arrow telling you, like, pointing inward. That's really cool. We might use a version of this that's like a little simpler. Like maybe we use a version of this that doesn't have the two interiors as like a tile selection thing. We're going to eventually need some kind of tile selector, little outline thing. Curious what that's going to look like, but this is a good example of something we could do. I feel like maybe there's too many. Like, what if I got rid of half of them? And it would have like a 2 on, 2 off kind of look. That's maybe better. Maybe not, actually. Go back to this and see what this looks like when we run it. I kind of like the constant, I don't like the alternating thing. I guess we could do it every other. We would just need to pick whether to skip this one or this one. We would need to be we would need to pick between 1 3 and 2 4. Yeah, I think that would be weird. Let's not get into that at the moment, at least. I think this is a little better. Let's run it. See how we feel about it. Yeah, this is nice. This is not as offensive visually. It interacts a little weirdly with the block placement because it's semi-transparent. But we could also just put it on the layer behind. We could put it one layer down. So we could say a grid level. We could say a grid level has a -1 order. And that might be okay. That might cause some weird stuff to happen, actually, but let's try it. I don't know how the transparent renders. No, that doesn't actually help because it's transparent, so it's rendering through the solids either way. That's unfortunate. Unless it's just not applying that. No, it's not because it's being overridden. So we would actually need to say, instead of here saying -1, we say here. On the layer itself, we say -1. That should work. So now this should, yeah, okay. So we got rid of that weird transparency problem. I kind of like that. I know it's like super hard to see on stream. But it's kind of cool because the way with the way that one pixel sticks up, you can still see it even when you have a block over it. Like you can still see the line. It doesn't disappear completely. That's pretty good. I still kind of want a system that only shows it when you're like close to it. So like we have this modulation that's happening based on Z level. I kind of want to have just a modulation that happens based on distance to the cursor chords. I don't want that. So that you can't see it until you start to get close to it. I mean, what should really happen is that it recenters. Like if you start building over in this corner and then you want to keep building past this, it should actually move this thing over if it can. Like it should actually just recenter your construction. That's what it should do. But also like all right, I kind of want to look at what the I kind of want to mess with the other ones here. So I want to carve those holes into this stuff. Actually, can I do that? Does that work? It would basically be like, I actually don't know if we can do that for this case. For like this. I don't know if this works. Yeah, because it would just be a square on the corner. I actually think that's fine, huh? It would be that or this. I think that's better. So this would be the consistent. Where did you get this color from? I don't usually use this version of the outlines because it's the inner outline. I prefer using the outer. And they actually point in opposite directions, so I'm kind of curious. You might actually end up doing it the other way to be consistent. I think this is actually counter the way the other one works. But let's do it and let's see what it looks like. So we draw this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put like this one here. That's kind of weird. I don't really use them like this either. But like if I want to do that and then this, okay, it's at least consistent. Okay, so this is correct. I don't know the extent to which we would use that, but it will probably come in handy at some point. So this is like keeping something out, and the other is like keeping something in. So it's like you can't exceed this. Kind of cool because it shows the direction that the boundary is pushing in. So like this line is keeping things in, but this box here is pushing things out. I think that's cool. I don't know if I love the corners, but it's consistent, so it'll be. Comes through clearly on YouTube. Looks good. Nice. Thanks to Shenanigans. Sorry that I took 1,000 years to notice that. All right, cool. Cool. So we have this. This is like this is what I would call like the static outline. So I call this moving levels. That's not right. This is the static. These are the static levels. They don't change. They're like the outer bounding box. And then we're going to have another set that's moving. I need to update my... Crash. Can I call it get method, oh, oops. Gotta change the actual reference here. Crash. Why didn't you tell me? Where the hell even is this? Static layers. Oh, because the reference is still there. I just can't use it. Good point. Good point. Kind of wish I hadn't gotten rid of some of the code in here. I'm just realizing we're going to want to use it when we're in a different state. Oh well, there's always GitHub. Okay, this isn't as offensive to my eye as the solid lines were. It's still a little weird, but I don't think it's so bad that I need to like... Oh, slight problem. Because now we build past this, which is not correct. Oh, so I can't actually do that. What I could do, instead of being semi-transparent, maybe we do just hide them. I don't know. I don't know. It's like a really cool look, but it might not work. It might not work out for might not work out for transparency reasons. Yeah. It's messing with the outline. Making kind of a weird effect. Don't these work? Another streamer was telling you about Git Kraken, and you think you might use that instead of GitHub now? Git Kraken, okay. I like the punitude of Git Kraken. Gotta get Kraken. That's way better. Okay. Looks cool. It looks virtually the same. But I'm sure there's lots of little differences. Commit graph is pretty cool. This is one of those things where it's like the fact that I'm just one person means I don't really use the vast majority of the features of any of this stuff. Is it me, but do all of their examples feel very like Mac? I think it's that beveled window. No, Joel, you just use the console. Yeah, I'm not a big CLI person, if that's what you mean. I wouldn't say competent. I can use the console. I think the desktop is just kind of nice. Oh man, there's a lot going on here. If I was using Git VS Code, that would be nice. I think the fact that I use Writer makes things a little weird. Individual productivity. Let's look at that. Tony's work, the streamer that told you about it is also a solo dev. That's why you considered it because you're a solo dev. Yeah. Okay. So here's their individual productivity. Launchpad, PRs, issues, work in progress in one place. That's kind of cool. I don't really use the issues feature of GitHub, even though I should. Stay aligned. Okay, these aren't individual productivity. It's like talking about teams and stuff. I understand that they mean, now I understand that they mean in the context of your individual productivity in the context of your team. No, it seems cool. It seems cool. I think if I wasn't already using GitHub, I would consider this. But yeah, thanks. Thanks for the rec. That seems cool. If it seems like cool enough that you would recommend it, you could always share it in the Game Dev Resources channel in the Discord. It's very quiet, that channel. Because I don't use tremendously large number. But no reason to. I'm just trying to, you know, encourage people to use the Discord so that people don't leave. I tend to leave when it's a silent Discord, and I acknowledge that it's 90% on me if that Discord is quiet. I should be posting more. I should be posting more, just little things, trying to keep it live. I can't rely on Ryson to do it in Diginanigans and stuff. If I wanna build a community on Discord, I gotta do it. I just gotta do it. Shameless plug end. Shameless plug over. Okay, so I'm gonna try one more. I'm gonna try the other variant. I really like this little arrow thing. I think it's playing hell with our transparency, so I'm unfortunately gonna try the other way. See what that looks like. I mean, I could also just stop using transparency. Yeah, because here it's still being weird, but it's like a little easier to see why it's being weird. Like, I still don't love what's happening here. But you should also never be here. Like, if you're building out to the edge significantly, like, you're doing something wrong. Now, I say you, but I mean me, because this tool is for me. You don't have much to share on the Discord lately. You've had a slow week. I'm more than happy to share your various projects as you shoot through them. All programming. Only one of 4 is game dev, though. No, like, whatever you want. Like, I don't want to pressure people to just post stuff just to post stuff. I mean, part of it is I just need to grow that server to the point where people feel like encouraged to, like, oh yeah, I want to show what I've been working on. There's some people here who like would appreciate it. We're still young. Oh. Today is actually my 1 year of streaming on Twitch. I forgot. I think I looked it up. I think it's 212. Let's see if that's true. Let's go look here. Live. Let's scroll all the way back. Scroll all the way back. Making an FTL-like in Godot episode 0. Streamed 1 year ago. Streamed live on February 12th, 2024. Look at that. Look at how far we've come. I have a different microphone now. And I don't sit down. That's fun. I forgot about that until just this very moment. 2/12, 2024. We've come a long way. Let me see if I can find some good progress shots. I mean, my animations haven't come any farther. Our animations are exactly the same. It's our cute little mouse cursor that we made.
Maximum warp.
Look at this. Look at this horse shit right here. Look at these thin doors and floors. There's like no. They're also short. Look how short the doors are. They don't extend to full wall height. Look how tiny and thin they are. Don't tell me I can actually have a moving character though at this point. Oh, we did a lot episode 0. But yeah, look at the horse shit it is. Oh, I'm not drawing back faces. There's like no walls here. The character animation set is concerningly exactly the same. It hasn't changed. I couldn't get the crew member to run at this point, could I? I think I figured that out in like episode 1 or something. Oh, but we did figure out outlines. We got outlines going. Oops. That's still the outline shader we use. Can't wait till we get characters back in the game. Getting them moving around. Look at that. We've come a long way. When you compare what we can do now with this static thing. I mean, we definitely didn't, get as far as I had hoped we would, but that's game dev. We definitely are a lot farther along than whatever this is. Look at this. These don't even line up. Door is just like floating a pixel behind where it should be. Trash. Such trash. I had different glasses. I think they were better. Maximum warp, no jewel. But that's fun. That's fun. Episode 0 to episode, what are we on? 146? I want to do even more episodes this year. I want to do like 200 something episodes this year. I think we can do it. All right, we're going to restore this. Since unfortunately, I think we have to go with the 2x2 dot for transparency reasons. We come up with an alternative. Now show the triple door. We have come a long way. All right. Just because I'm in a celebratory mood, we can show the triple door. Don't tell anyone. Look at this. This is gonna look good at full width. I showed this at the top of the stream, no jewel. So this is the original version of the single door. Original as in current, the current version of the single door. I'm thinking about redoing the doors to be full tile thickness for a number of reasons. Look at that. That is a thick door. I'm enjoying the opportunity to do more shadow lighting stuff on the thicker door. Look at that. I don't think that looks half bad. I did that last night. So I'm going to redraw the double door this way. And we'll put him in the game. I think I'm going to like it better. I don't love the current door. You like it? Yeah. I think it's a little thick, you know, honestly, but I think for a number of reasons we need that. So like right now, I think when we put a door here, I think having the door set back is causing me some problems. Part of that is some known outlining issues that I can fix. Part of that is just a visibility problem. Like it's gone once we like, you know, start carving things away. But there's a lot of reasons why I think I want to switch to just a full thickness door. So we're going to try that out. Woo! The anniversary door here. Stream anniversary door. Clap. Chunky doors. Show them the door. I'm not going to change the emote. All right. I think that's going to be it for today. I got to go get some laundry going and then get back to my day job. But this has been a nice stream. I think we have a direction to go as far as the like asynchronous tile map loading. I kind of want to set that up because even if we make tile map loading more efficient, eventually we're going to be loading tile maps from more ships at a time. And I think that behooves us to have it set up to be asynchronous. You got here a little later. No worries. Still needs work. You rest up. No worries. We'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here Friday. Yeah, tomorrow and Friday. No stream Saturday. I'm going out of town. But yeah, we've got a couple more days this week. So yeah, I'm going to start queuing up the music here. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.